call the Board of Directors meeting to order, October 9th, 2024. Let's go ahead and do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks everybody for coming tonight. This fine October evening. Denise, can we get a roll call?
Director Lohmeyer,
Here.
Director Johnston,
Here.
Director Walper,
Here.
Director Martinez,
Here.
Director Berman,
Here.
Vice Chair Rydell,
Here.
Chair Wheeler.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Excellent. Denise, was the agenda properly notified?
Yes.
Can I get a motion on the agenda?
Chair Wheeler, I move to approve the agenda.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion needed? All right. All those in favor, please raise your right hand.
Motion carries.
Excellent. We'll move forward with the agenda as presented. Let's start with our Board of Directors reports. We're going to start with Director Walper.
I have nothing tonight.
Oh, here we go.
Yep.
Thank you.
No updates, Chair, right now. Thanks.
Wheeler.
Wheeler. I was looking right at you, too.
You're making
I
eyes.
was like, full eye contact.
They look alike.
Used to.
Thank you, Director Berman. Director Lohmeyer.
We're just gearing up for wrestling. It's coming soon, November, so kind of buried in that right now.
Are we projecting big numbers this year?
Yeah, too big. Too many to fit.
Awesome.
So it should be good.
Excellent. Director Martinez?
No updates?
Director Johnson?
No.
Let's go back to you, Chair Rydell. I know we got
Stretch out here.
minutes here.
No, just a short one. So we had a first time ever, the music department or performing arts department was approached by the Aspen Meadow Group. And they held a fundraising event up at their place on Lower Highland. And so still calculating the numbers, was a great event. We had the staff put a band together that played. We had the Ranger Choir, the jazz band. There were some alumni that performed. Kids performed some solos. Just a super awesome event. It just came in $3,964.
Wow.
And so it was all the proceeds. So they covered the food, they covered everything. And so it was a great opportunity that they just reached out and said, we want to support the local community. And so it was a great event. So
Great.
that's it for me.
Excellent. I'll keep it pretty short too. Youth football is in week 10 of 12 or 13. So we're 3 games away from the end of the season. Having moderate success at different levels. One of the groups that has struggled in years past is actually doing fairly well, and that's our 7th and 8th grade group. So glad to see that they're doing well, and they're going to kick off into their high school years with a taste of some winning. So, and again, a good year for youth football numbers-wise. We had, I think, 125, 122 tackle kids, and somewhere in the neighborhood of about 60. I think it ended up being flag kids. We divided our flag program up a little differently this year, where we had 6 different squads of 9 to 10 kids. And so hopefully developing a little bit more competitive football earlier on. And it was a really good turnout. So let's be done with the board reports and go right into our district reports, though.
Great.
Starting off, we have Communications Department. Welcome, Danny and Maggie.
Good evening.
Good evening. In October, some of the things that we've been working on right now is we are in the midst of survey season, so we are really committed to making sure that our employees, our parents, and our students have as much participation in our surveys as possible. We really value getting well-rounded feedback, and based on early results, we're doing pretty well on our survey turnout so far. And we're going to amp that up with some parent text messages, some social media promotion, and we already have banners going on all the websites. So, and we're doing some parent calls as well. So really trying to be aggressive about that. We're also starting a recruitment communication in our transportation department. Those spots can be a little bit difficult to fill, so we're working in collaboration to spotlight some bus drivers and have them tell the community why they enjoy being a bus driver and why some other folks should consider it. So we're looking forward to getting that rolling. And then we just recently were able to announce our top workplace announcement. That is something that we found out about a while back, but it just came off of embargo. So this is our 5th time winning as an Oregon top workplace. So we're very excited about that. We are the only public school district in Oregon to achieve that. And then lastly, in progress right now, we're doing a lot of website maintenance work right now. Just some fun stats. All of our websites generate around 50,000 impressions each month, which means people are just seeing it in a search engine. As far as actual visits, we get around 7,500 each month. So a pretty decent amount of traffic, so we want to make sure that our website is as updated as possible and represents our district well. So we've been very thorough about going through every page to make sure it's updated. Some recently completed projects. We had a wonderful Spanish-speaking family resource night. We had almost 40 families attend, which is really great turnout. To put that into perspective for our English-speaking families, that would be like if 600 families attended. So it was great to see. We've never seen that level of engagement, and they got a lot of great resources from tech support to connections with groups like Todos Juntos, and just a wonderful event and great to see. We also had a really fun time spotlighting homecoming and just homecoming parade, game, all those fun things. It's just a great way to spread community spirit, and Josh did a great job capturing on video some really special moments that have gone over well in the community. And then lastly, social media promotion. We're working on 2 things. One, we're increasing our Instagram exposure. Instagram has grown exponentially for us over the past year, really, and it's just a really positive platform. We're reaching younger families and students and just having a really great success with that, so we want to keep leaning into that. And then we're also working on a campaign to educate our community around how to find trusted sources, how to share trusted information and accurate information about our school system to make sure that our story is being told with accuracy and with care. I'll turn it over to Danny.
I am excited to discuss some of our recent successes and opportunities in community outreach. We'll start with the All-In Live that we had about a week and a half ago, where Superintendent Carpenter answered questions with our Facebook community. The stats are showing that we reached out to a little over 1,000 folks. In that environment, we're able to answer questions firsthand right out of the superintendent's mouth, which is always a great way to get that information out. Some of the important topics that were discussed were our graduation requirements in comparison to the state of Oregon, which is always an important topic in our community, along with the changes of the middle school schedule and the reasons behind that, and also opportunities to provide feedback with big decisions that are upcoming and joining committees. With that, the committee season has started, so we have our committee for the school year calendar, which rolls out next week. There is quite a few folks in that, and we're excited to get the feedback from staff members, students, families, and community members. And then we also will be rolling out a school boundary committee where we can start getting feedback on that. We do have room available, so if you're interested in joining on those discussions, please reach out. I'm excited to say that we have officially rolled out an alumni webpage on our district website. We are shining light on 7 alumni right now, with more to come. There is an opportunity there to either put in the name of an outstanding alumni that you would like to mention and have us reach out to, or even provide your own information so that we can spotlight you and the things that are going on. We're really excited for momentum to pick up with this and really show the success that comes out of Estacada School District. A reminder that October 25th, our next home game, we are going to be the spotlight of the home game, so that is a lot of just us out and about, being able to be face forward with our attendees, have a fun time. It's something new that we're trying out. I would love to have any participation in handing out goodies, really shaking hands and just explaining to everybody why it's a great time to be a part of Estacada School District. And then lastly, I just wanted to note the increase of our district social work referrals. Most of you already know Bettina Bowles, our wonderful district-wide social worker. She's done a fabulous job of really promoting what services she provides and the things that our district is able to help out with. So since the beginning of the school year, she's gotten over 150 referrals from families or students. Those can look like anything from a need for food, clothing, resources from other community entities, requests for counseling. It's endless, really. So I just want to make sure that it was clear to folks that the need is out there. There is a lot of opportunity for us to help these folks, and then we're just excited to offer a helping hand and be a resource and collaborate with her on anything with the community.
Any questions?
I do have a question. So the top workplace, again, super excited, 5 years. What was had any school district won it twice?
No.
That was what I said. I just wanted to make sure that didn't go unnoticed. It's not that we're the only one to do it 5 times. We're the only one to do it more than once. And so I think that highlights again the power of the connections with the workforce. So congratulations, nice job.
And were there no other schools that won it this year?
No. We are the only public school district to win it this year.
How about other, like, small government agencies?
I didn't check on that one. I do know there is a local, well, not local, but Portland area private school that has won it in the past that I believe applies for it. So I'll double check on that.
Excellent.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, ladies. A lot of great stuff going on. Next up, we have Buildings and Facilities Report.
All right, good evening, Board of Directors. Tonight, we're going to just focus on some of our capital projects for the operations report. For our first one, the high school varsity baseball field officially has wrapped up yesterday. As of today, we actually had our football team utilizing that field for practice. We are putting some final touches, just some minor things on the field itself. But overall, that project is pretty much done on the phase of install. The next phase is looking at safety and security, so fencing. That'll be coming in mid-November. And so because of that, we'll be putting up temporary fencing around the perimeter of the field. If you get a chance to go out there, please do so. It's actually been a great project, very beautiful project, and we're happy for it. So now we're focusing on how we're going to keep this investment in good care, making sure we have the right equipment, and then also investing in it for 10, 12 years down the road. Our varsity softball field excavation actually wrapped up today. Went a little longer than expected, but we wanted to make sure we got that site prep dialed in correctly. Turf install starts tomorrow. Not a big field, not as big as the baseball field, so it won't take as long. We expect about 2.5 weeks for install, and then again be ready for use from our high school programs and even our youth and community programs to go forward. We are adding that hitting facility, and that will come in after the fact, after the turf is installed, working with local contractors to install that hitting facility and making sure that that's best in class for our softball group as well. Moving into our seismic project at the high school gym. Really, again, continuing the investigation and exploratory phase. We are starting to get more accurate pricing. We've had 3 options for strengthening the gable walls over at the high school, and really we wanted to see what's going to be the best choice and the most cleanest look, I guess, if you will. We had 3 options: concrete shear wall along the gymnasium with some HSS tubes or strong backs, if you will. Another option was a 6-foot concrete shear wall along the 24 feet length of the wall, and then number 3, 6-inch concrete shear wall along the entire length with no strong backs. Based off of the assessment and the cost, what was going to be the cleanest look, we're choosing, the engineers and the district is choosing option number 3 to go the entire wall, which is going to be the best case, again, for cost purposes and the cleanest look for the gym. And so that's kind of where we're at right now. We're still going to be going towards the end of the month for some new cost estimates. As I mentioned in previous board meetings, we were a little bit over what the grant was affording for the construction phase, and so we needed to start getting a little more dialed in and more accuracy on the cost estimates, and we expect to see that at the 60% design at the end of this month. Any questions?
One question, Mike, on the varsity softball field, are we putting in base spikes at 60 feet and at 70 or 75, whatever that junior level is?
The base spikes will be in at 60 feet, but we'll purchase the bases that kind of have the
Drop down,
teeth
okay.
underneath it. So, and we'll just kind of spray paint where they should go.
Okay, cool, thank you.
I saw the fence on this picture still up, so reusing the existing fence on the varsity softball field?
No, to be honest, we actually have torn down both sides of those fences. The back outfield fence is staying intact,
Okay.
just like the baseball field. But there was already a lot of wear and tear and holes in those fences. And so if you're looking at this picture here, on the right-hand side, that's where the hitting facility will be. And it'll be very similar to the varsity baseball field. That'll act as part of the fencing or the kind of the line of the field. And then we're installing some more new fencing.
And I think we talked about this, but disposal of the old turf, was that also in the mix of the price that was paid?
It was, but we also, the district has deemed that as a surplus, so we've had some interest in the community to come pick up some of that turf, and we've been able to hand that out periodically throughout it, but the disposal is part of the project and the cost of the site
Sorry for
prep.
another question. Was there any life in it that it could be used in the new facility?
In the hitting facility?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, it has a lot of life on it, a lot of crumb rubber and all that. We have some leftover turf from the baseball, and we'll have some from softball that probably want to look at a little bit more just for usability and just length of life.
Thank you.
Mike, on the seismic project, option 3 there, so 6-inch thick shear wall. Makes a lot of sense from a strength standpoint. Have we mapped that out inside in the gym? I mean, 6 inches doesn't sound like a lot, but
It's
it's
good.
not a huge space in itself when you take it off both.
When you look at the end zones, if you will, of the basketball court, it's going to take up some space. And we were trying to find a way to go outside of the gym, but just from a cost perspective, it wasn't going to make a lot of sense. So we're electing to stay inside, and it is going to eat up a little bit of space, but that's valuable space that we really don't have.
And then the timing of a project like this is gonna be summertime, I would
It'll be
assume?
summer. We'll do similar to what we did with Rivermill Seismic. We'll start a little bit in the spring break and May break, just to do as much as we can if there's abatement, things that we can get out of the way, and then hit the ground running right when school ends for the summer. With a short summer, it's gonna be a tight timeline. And there will be an impact, obviously, for our summer programs that utilize that gym. So we'll have to start working through that with our high schools, and even our middle school programs.
And last question, in this picture, you can see the new ductwork, in that new gym, or the old gym, excuse me. Were these projects just happened to be at the same time frame, or were they both the same project?
Different project, different grant funding as well. The ducting was through a cool air grant through DHS, Oregon State Department of Human Services, and this one is a seismic rehabilitation project.
Sorry, one more question. Sorry. Since this is the old gym, I'm not gonna ask about changing names, but, is the new gym reinforced CMU block, or is it hollow as well?
It was built in the 80s, I believe, is that correct? I believe it was built in the 80s. We haven't done any exploratory work to see, not knowing what the construction requirements were back in the 80s. We'd have to explore that.
Okay. But we don't know at this point in time?
No.
Okay. All right, I'm done with questions. Thanks, Mike.
Any other questions?
Oh, I will say one thing. On the fields, hiring a local contractor, knowing the dollars and cents of that, I think was a wise move on the district's part. It's nice to help the local guys out, and I think he's done a fantastic job. And knowing the work, from the experience on the other field, the work that he went above and beyond to do just to make it more right, is much appreciated. So I think it was a good choice on the district's part to do that.
Yeah.
It is important to know, he's worked countless hours and weekends to get this job done on time, so he's been wonderful to work for.
He's done a good job. All right, Mike, you still got the next one here on finance and accountability.
Yes, sir. Going into our finance report, our general fund report as of September 30th, our beginning fund balance is $6.1 million. Total expenditures, $39.3 million, with a projected end fund balance of just over $8 million moving in. So as we're getting further down, we're seeing more accurate numbers, obviously, and then our expenditures are being reflected there. Budget actuals as of September 30th, instructional year-to-date plus encumbrance is at 16%, which is just about $24.7 million. Support services, year-to-date plus encumbrance, 19%, or just about $13 million there. Capital projects, our beginning fund balance at $1.465 million. Total expenditures expected is $3.9 million. with a projected end fund balance of a $1.295 billion. Going into our enrollment report, we've had a little bit of a dip in enrollment since we last met. At CRE, at Clackamas River Elementary, we're down 2 from last month and down 20 from last year at this time. River Mill Elementary, we're down 8 from last month and down 1 from last year this time. So elementary's totals 10 down from last month and 21 down from last year. Middle school, we are down 17 from last month, but we're still up 24 from last year at this time. And our high school is down 22 and up 10 from last year at this time, coming out to be 1,950 students from last month's report, about 1,999 students. Total district enrollment, including the charter schools, is 3,316. And you can see as we get more data points, or more lines will show up on this graph, but the top light blue line, it represents our current enrollment for 1,950 students. And then finally, in our Summit Learning Charter revenues, as you can see here, we have a total revenue from September 2024, our state school fund of $1.6 million, revenue from the state school fund to Estacada School District, $1.426 million, and then from Summit to the district, $226,000. It's an important note to full transparency. In your board report, the district did make a clerical error. I wanted to thank Director Walpert for identifying this today. The August 2024 in the far left box for its total accrual, actual revenue from state school fund. And your board report initially said 1.3 million, and that was a formula error. We since corrected that, and now it's 1.6 million, and that's what we received from the state in August of 2024. So again, thank you, Director Walpert, for finding that. Appreciate it.
You know, I want to take a minute and congratulate you on this report. This, I think, is very important for our constituents to see. It shows that we are actually making money from Summit, and it's a good reason why we don't affect that school and bring them back into our under our wing. They are under our wing, but this is a good thing to show the community what's going on and how much we're making on this.
It's important knowledge, to acknowledge our senior accountant, Tanner Simmons, as well, as helping
Yeah.
with this report and this information. So,
You know, congratulate him for us.
thank you. Any other questions?
I've got one. 21 at the high school is a big jump. It's a big percentage. Do we have confirmation that those won't hurt cohort grad rates, or do we know where they're going?
We don't know where they're going, most of them, but this is, because it's October, it's reflective of after the 10-day drop.
Okay.
And so what we're seeing from this year in comparison to the last 2 or 3 is there were more people who said they were going to start the school year with us that didn't end up showing up. And so now that we've dropped them off of the list because they've not been here for 10 consecutive days, that's what it's reflective of. So at this moment, we're not sure where all or some of them went, various reasons, I'm sure, but through the course of the year, other school districts will pick them up and we'll start that process of whose on-track cohort they now belong to, if that makes sense.
Thank you.
Yep.
Mike, that ending fund balance, the roughly 8 million, what percentage is that?
Roughly about 19.4%.
Okay, perfect, thank you. Roughly 19.4?
Yeah.
Like the roughly with the .4 in there, nice job.
It'll be 0.45.
But it's early in the year and
Yeah,
things will change.
no, I'm with you.
Yeah, it's important to note that.
I don't have any other questions.
Any other questions? All right. Thank you.
Thanks,
Director
Mike.
Ware. Is there anything not discussed or shown in the final, or financial report that we need to be aware of?
No.
Perfect, thank you. Next up, we have the superintendent's report.
All right, thank you. I wanted to take a couple seconds to praise a few of our employees to make the board aware, as well as the public watching this evening. This group of people is an unfamiliar group. There are some familiar folks who are employees of the Estacada School District, but we were so proud last week to welcome 15 educational leaders from the state of Tennessee who flew from the state of Tennessee to Estacada, Oregon, to watch some of the industry-leading things that are occurring inside this school district and this organization. The thing we often forget, because we live in Estacada, we love Estacada, is we don't necessarily know what our impact and outreach is when we think about ourselves in comparison with others. And I think it's always important to remind not only our employees, but also our parents, our community as well, that the things that are actually happening every single day inside the Estacada School District is not only phenomenal from our own local perspective, but it's actually industry leading. And what Estacada School District is doing right now through evidence-based leadership, standards-based learning and reporting, Do-For model PLCs, and inclusive practices is truthfully leading in the nation. And there are school districts from around the United States who are coming to see what is happening inside the Estacada School District in hopes that they can incorporate that in their own home local school districts and organizations. So while we know how great the Estacada School District is, and while we know the achievement is speaking for itself based on a lot of the changes and upgrades that we've made to our school district, not facility-wise, but through paradigm, mission, vision, and values, we are starting to reap the benefits of a national leading public educational institution. And it's just so awesome to welcome so many people around. And so I do want our parents and the school board to know that the Estacada School District is a nationally recognized school district. And each and every single month, we do have these mini visits. These mini visits are actually for us internally to measure if we're doing what we said we would do and promised to our community. But these micro visits have also turned into be very popular spots for people outside of people around the country to come and join us and see this work. In fact, we've already sold out our next slot, which is a group of people from the school district in Kentucky to come out and visit as well. And so each and every single month, we continue to draw a bigger crowd when it comes to just the work that we're doing inside the school district. I do want to recognize these 8 teachers who we had the opportunity, as well as the teams from Tennessee, to go in just to see the real work happening in front of their very eyes. And we've got just such a talented group of teachers. And since we've kind of risen to national fame, the talent that we've collected inside our school district continues to grow. And so I'm proud to say to our families that your child is getting placed in front of a highly qualified teacher who strongly believes in this work, and the results are tenfold in terms of what our students are achieving based on this model. And so that's fantastic. I just also want to let the board know that in a couple weeks, the Estacada School District will be featured on the keynote stage at a national conference in Denver, Colorado. We'll be taking a team to share our story and our journey to help educational leaders throughout the United States. And then as soon as we return from Denver, Colorado on Thursday night, that very next Friday morning, we're on the keynote stage again in Eugene, Oregon to talk about and showcase what Estacada is doing in special education. So we continue to be at the front of the work that's going on around the state and the United States. This is an awesome picture. Vice Chair Rydell talked very briefly about our Estacada School District Music Department. I think, first of all, not only is this an awesome picture, but this is reflective of an extremely healthy organization right now. The fact that we can get K-12 music department together, a very diverse group of employees from school board member to teacher to paraeducator to accompanist to just kids of these people, all the way through. It's just a resemblance of a very, very great, healthy organization that cares deeply about kids first. And I was fortunate enough to see some video clips. And it's also important to note that not only are these great teachers, but they're also all super talented musicians. And so our kids every single day are being placed in front of great qualified musicians as well. And if you're to watch some of that video clip, you do see people who were enjoying the music, literally line dancing, and literally gallivanting and alamanning and other things that square dancing people do. And so, very cool. And so I just wanted to highlight that as well. Our communications team mentioned the emergence of committee work. Obviously, committee work is important because we believe in the collaboration of collecting multiple voices, both from our community, our parents, and our employees as we make the best decisions and as we make important recommendations to the executive board of directors. We will be starting next week our calendar committee. This is year 3 of a 3-year school calendar, and we anticipate to come to you probably in the January month, maybe sooner, with a recommendation for what the next 3 years look like. The reason why we're trying to be expeditious in this process is because we know there are so many families that like to make plans in advance. And the sooner we can approve a 3-year calendar, I think the better sportsmanship that is for both our families and our employees as they create a pathway for what the next 3 years look like. I do want to state, though, that we have 24 people who are a part of this calendar committee. It was a very popular request. It filled up fast. We have some school board members who are a part of this committee, employees, parents, and community members. But I want to just take this moment to quickly state that if you look at the data of the Estacada School District over the last 3 years, we've had record graduation rates, we've had record student attendance, we've had a record in employee attendance, we've had a record in staff retention, and up until the last enrollment report that we saw today, we've also had record enrollment gain. And so all of the data would indicate that what we did in the last 3 years is working effectively. And I do want to commend the board because we also took a bold stance in the last 3 years where we went from a full 5-day school week to a 4-day school week with a read day to support families and intervention in closing gaps. We implemented a May break, which was super innovative and really improved both morale and outcomes, learning outcomes. And then, of course, the read day on top of that has also been wildly successful. And as we've started to collect the survey data from our parent satisfaction survey, read day on Fridays is through the roof popular from the mouths of our parents specifically. And so I just wanted to state and stipulate that while we're starting this 3-year committee, I just don't want people to misinterpret that we're going to come with this committee to say back to 5-week, 4-day week, or year-round school. Like, we're beyond that. The data is really telling us we need to keep doing what we're doing. The committee is around, do we need to make a certain amount of tweaks here or there to support the calendar? And so I just don't want our community to say, like, we're starting from square zero again. We did that 3 years ago, and the data has proven what we did is working. And I think it would be unwise of us to go against the grain of what the data is telling us to do. I'll pause there in case there are any board questions on that.
One question on the read days. I know it's an opportunity to get kids caught up and
Yep.
provide help. The enrichment is the E in the read, right?
Correct.
Are we meeting the enrichment opportunities? I personally don't hear that many
Right.
opportunities. My kids are taking more advantage of
Yeah.
the
The
homework.
I part.
The I
Yeah.
part, thank you.
Yes. Yep. No doubt about it.
Sorry, kids.
So it's a great question, and we all need intervention, and we all need to be retaught certain things, and everybody learns the grade level standard at different times. So no one ever needs to be ashamed of being invited for the I or intervention purposes. That being said, the extension does exist. It probably isn't meeting the needs of both what we have for it internally and what our parents have for it externally, and that's continually a work in process. I would say it ebbs and flows based on the time of year and the staffing that's available to help the extension. Obviously, every PLC team is looking at the current learning data, and then they basically divide and conquer. I'll do this skill, you do this skill, you do this skill, deal, and then we invite kids and we divide and conquer. You take some of my kids and I take some of your kids. When they are free to dive deeper, they do take those opportunities, but they're probably not as numerous as we would like it to be. But that's no fault of anybody other than the systems we just need to improve. Yeah, great question. Okay. One that's going to be even more fun in the coming weeks, and when I say coming weeks, I actually mean months, is our Boundary Committee, which will be starting likely in December or January. So it's not around the corner, but I wanted to just start the process of making folks aware of this. We will be selecting probably 2 or 3 board members to participate in this committee, and it will also have a stark representation of our community and our parents and some representation from our employee group. Obviously, when we talk about boundaries and school lines, that's less of an employee concern because our job is to teach kids no matter what in those circumstances. But this is a big conversation for our community to have. And so what this means, I'm going to prime the pump on this just a little bit, and that is to stipulate or state that because we were unsuccessful in our most recent bond package, the issue of growth and capacity is the ball is back in our court to have to figure out. Because despite our ask from our community to invest in additional facilities to support the growth, that growth has not gone anywhere. And so at River Mill Elementary School, we have exceeded capacity. And at Clackamas River Elementary School, we are at capacity. At Estacada Middle School, we are at capacity. And at Estacada High School, we are under capacity currently. And so the conversation of this committee is going to be to determine what to do with the discrepancy between River Mill Elementary School's boundary and Clackamas River Elementary School's boundary. And it's important to state all of the new houses and apartments that are being built in subdivisions, that's in River Mill's boundary with no end in sight. In fact, if you're a community member at large, if you drive past, I think it's Grace, it used to be Estacada First Baptist Church, now I think it's Grace Crossing. Right across the street from that is another 400 home development that is being cleared to be built as we speak. Those are all going to be River Mill Elementary School kids who we have no place to put even one of them. And so we need to have a conversation and wrestle, both literally and figuratively, with our community, there's a wrestling reference there, to be able to see what we're going to do with this process. And so examples would be to reboundary where we go, but we're also going to have to be stricter than the last reboundary. With grandfathering, kids being in different places is a realistic possibility because there is no place to put kids. Secondly, we've talked before about making one building a K2, another building a 3-5, and the middle school staying at 6-8, or various versions of that. I hope that as you hear your superintendent talking about this leads to great emotions because this will be a very emotional conversation. And I think the more we can have a conversation about it early, the more productive our committees will be as we start that process. But here's what I can tell you as your superintendent. We can't do nothing. We have to do something. And that committee is going to start this winter. And it will be fun, for sure. I want to use this opportunity to talk a little bit about social media etiquette, and the harm around some baseless postings that have been occurring most recently when it comes to things that are being said both by our community and our parents about the Estacada School District. There's one specific reference that came in over the weekend that I just want to take the opportunity to address both as representative of the school board and on behalf of the Estacada School District, because we need to be better as a community about how we speak about things on social media, and it starts with adults. And I think it's very important as an adult that we model this behavior for our children about what safe communication looks like when it comes to how we post and speak on social media platforms. And again, it starts with us. So this weekend, as one of many examples over the course of the last 6 months, we had an adult parent of one of our children who on social media claimed that at Estacada High School, the entry doors and the privacy stall doors were removed to reduce a major vaping problem that was occurring and other problems occurring inside Estacada High School. I want to just take a couple moments to explain what we're really doing and why. First of all, I can concur that we have experienced a giant threshold or a bigger spike in students who are smoking vape or vaping marijuana substances and utilizing our bathrooms to do so. We've also seen an uptick in property damage and vandalism inside both the men's and women's bathroom areas, which we do have both a men's and a women's bathroom. Important to clear that up for a different Facebook post. Secondly, because of this and trying to solve that problem, it's important to note that what we are trying to do is create a safer place inside the high school restroom facilities while still being able to monitor and supervise in a safe, private, and legal way. So what Estacada High School has done is they have removed the entry doors. Since the 50s, the Estacada High School bathroom doors have had a big, heavy metal green door on them. And kids open the door, they go into the bathroom, and it's a very unsupervised spot. And we're having continuous problems. 2 years ago, we completely closed some bathrooms because of the problems we were having. I believe that this high school administration is taking an innovative strategy in an effort to remove the doors but still allow kids to safely utilize the restrooms in a safe spot. As you can see in the picture there, it's still very private with the door open. Think about a stadium, think about an airport, think about a brand new school that communities have chosen to invest in. All of them do not have bathroom doors. So this is actually quite normal when you think about just a general public restroom. I took this picture yesterday because I wanted to make very clear that the Estacada School District nor Estacada High School has removed the privacy doors. And so students still can continue to experience privacy while utilizing the restroom and those restroom facilities. The reason why I point that out is because this particular parent said Estacada High School had removed the doors and the privacy doors, which was not true. They also claimed that because we removed the privacy doors, their children no longer felt safe to use the bathroom because the privacy doors had been removed. As you can see with these pictures and with support from so many other parents on the social media website, that was a baseless, inaccurate claim. Now, the reason why I want to highlight this is because the harm that was created by this baseless claim created an 80-person response strand. And what I don't like about that is the irresponsibility of the post, people who are not affiliated with our school district in any way, but are local community members. This is where people sometimes receive their news. And so some people read this post as if it were truth. They walked away thinking it was the truth, when in fact it was falsely and I would say actually grossly inaccurate. After so many of our community members and parents called this person out for that factual misinformation, that person then deleted the post. Now, while I appreciate the deletion of the post, the damage has already been done because nobody goes back to see if they were lying. Nobody goes back to see if the post had been deleted. They have already walked away believing that this is what's true about Estacada High School and the Estacada School District. And so effectively, the last couple of weeks, we have found just with these numerous times where parents and community members make these baseless claims on social media about their school district, I believe it's time for us to engage in an educational opportunity to really work with our families on how to appropriately communicate concerns. Because the one thing I want to recognize in this person who made this fallacious post is they were trying to do so under the guise of concern. If somebody has a concern about safety, about process, about protocols, or about anything related to the Estacada School District, the right thing to do is report it to the authorities so that the school district authorities can do something about the concern. Don't just repost it. And so here are the three things that your superintendent and our school district is going to begin as we try to engage and educate our community on responsible posting about the Estacada School District and what is going on. We also want to encourage them to check their sources and go to those sources if something sounds it, if something is there. Here's a great statement. If what you're reading on social media about the Estacada School District sounds so crazy that it can't be true, it probably isn't true. And we just want to be very clear about that. We know that on times you see on Fox News or at other news media stations, example, there is a cat litter box in a restroom at a school district somewhere in the Arctic Northeast. That does not mean the Estacada School District has a cat litter box inside the bathrooms. But if you're unsure, instead of posting it on social media, please ask us so that we can have the opportunity to share that. And then lastly, I'm calling upon our community this evening to help others by referring people to the right person when they have a concern, so that we can continue to keep our children, our employees, our parents, and our community safe. Like, for example, if somebody has a concern about a threat of violence on campus, please call the police. Please call a principal. Please call somebody so that we can address that immediately. It is grossly irresponsible to go directly to social media to communicate this concern without talking to someone of authority. If you recognize a suspicious person on campus or someone that is unrecognizable or may seem, quote, creepy or unsafe to you, please report that to the proper authority. Do not just post it on social media. In both of those occasions that have happened over the last couple of weekends, and it's harmed our employees and it's harmed our children, and every time that post gets deleted because it's not true, but the damage has already been done. And so we are going to play a little bit of offense for those people who continue to baselessly report things about our school district which turn out to be untrue. I'm going to pause there for a second in case there are any board comments on this very conflicting issue.
I would echo your sentiments, Ryan. It is, whether it's a school district or any other entity, a business, a family, a community member, it is not productive to take what you have heard. And I have two kids that came through Estacada, and there were times when they came home and said, "Dad, this is what's happening." I'm like, well, hold on, yes. Right? Let's get to the bottom of it. And so we, with the care and effort that the Estacada School District pours into these students, we deserve the opportunity to at least have a conversation before it is blasted. We're not saying if you're unhappy with what we're doing, that's a different conversation.
Absolutely.
But please verify that what you have heard or are hearing or believe is accurate before you then go out and make it a bigger issue. And because we're not trying to stifle anybody's communication. That's not it at all. Just verify it before you state it as a fact out to the world.
Yes.
So that we can help avoid real harm that is happening to employees and to students and to families.
Yes, thank you.
Without, sharing your playbook, because wouldn't, Maggie's only one person playing offense in this situation. It could be a scramble. So trying to find and hunt and peck. So how do you plan on playing offense?
Yeah,
Right?
that's a great question. And the answer is, while our communications team is small but mighty, one of the things that our goal is to do is to truly educate the community, so it's not just us. The last thing we want to do is police social media. In fact, we want no part of it whatsoever. And so our hope is to educate our community. So when something baseless like this comes out, it's actually our community or our parents themselves that says, have you called 911? Or have you talked to the building principal? Or provide some portion of evidence that makes that statement true and or false. And so really, we just want to educate the community on how and when to communicate concerns, and then how to also help guide people who may make things that just require a little extra assistance. So we want to empower our community, make it less about us and more about our community creating a safer space.
Thank you.
Yep, great question.
And I would just one more, just to piggyback on what you said, is that we're not in any way, shape, or form in this conversation intending that these posts are done with malicious intent. And I know that you said that, but I think that's really important, right?
Most of them are not.
This is what I believe, this is what I've heard, and I want people to understand it.
Yeah.
So that's not what we're trying to do. What
Correct.
we're trying to do is verify the information before we then create this issue out in the community, out with our students and our teachers, when it's just not even true. We haven't even done the basic homework of picking up the phone, calling the principal, saying,
That's right.
hey, this is what I heard, is this true?
Yep.
And again, I think that we deserve the opportunity to be able to answer those questions before being
Yep.
taken to the court of public opinion
Yep.
on information that hasn't even been verified.
Absolutely. Nope, thank you for that. And so then, as I conclude, I just want to state and stipulate that by no means are we trying to quell speech, are we trying to claim anything of false information or fake news or misinformation or whatever some of the political jargon is that makes this a hot button topic. If you have criticism of the Estacada School District, please share it. If you have criticism as to how we respond to certain issues, please share that criticism. You are more entitled to do so. But all that we ask is, prior to sounding some form of safety alarm on social media, we just ask that you include somebody who can actually do something about it inside the school district, so that we can work quickly, safely, and efficiently to make sure that everybody who is in that concern is in a safe space. But please criticize away. We deserve it. And we're working hard to win your trust. And so we care deeply about that. I do want to point out that this is survey season, and I'm sure after what I just said, obviously gives lots of opportunity for feedback. And this is a great way for you to give us that feedback, both emotional and non-emotional, and that is through our parent satisfaction survey. I can tell you that we're over 200 participants already. We're hoping to meet at least a 400-person threshold, which is kind of where we've averaged over the course of the last 3 or 4 years. We've already collected about 3/4 of our employees, and we're just in the process of surveying our students as well for their experience inside the school district as well. I can tell you right now, employee satisfaction is up and going quite well. Parent satisfaction is hovering about where it normally is, slightly down. And our students are just getting started. So just a sneak preview, which are all the things that we suspected that they'd be this year. So we're very pleased about that. Is that it? Perfect. I don't know how long that was, but that was your superintendent's report.
Any further questions for Superintendent Carpenter?
The only thing I have, I'm sure that all of us just employ us on how we can help in
Yes.
that. So,
Yes.
in all the areas, but
Yep.
specifically.
Continue to be visible and approachable so that when concerns exist, they can contact a school board member while simultaneously posting.
Just before. That'd be great.
Yep. Thank you, Director Johnston, for that question.
All right, next up we have reports and presentations. We have the Estacada FFA, newly reestablished Estacada FFA. Let's go. Come on down, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to ask that you introduce yourself and your advisor and speak directly into the mic if you're speaking. Emery Smith. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Glad to see you tonight.
the Lynn Benton Community College Camp, we had 5 participants. Emery Smith placed 4th individual, and Hank placed 8th. Deschutes County Fair, we placed 2nd. In the novice division, we had 3 participants, and Emery Smith got 1st place. In Clackamas, what is that?
Clackamas County.
Oh, and at Clackamas County, we placed 2nd. In the novice division, we had 5 participants. Emery got 1st place, and Matt got 6th. At the state contest, we placed 2nd. In the novice division, we had 6 participants. Emery placed 3rd, Hank placed 4th, and Matt placed 6th. We are excited for this year, and we are hoping to travel more. We will be competing as advanced.
At the Clackamas County Fair and at the State Fair, you should have gotten an email about all of your summer successes. We had 3 participants last year and we had 10 participants this year. We already have a growing list for this coming year.
Hi, I'm Caleb. So this is leadership camp, and our officer team went to Camp Collins for the Mount Hood Leadership Camp. We got to work with the district officer team and the state officer team. And this is Ag Olympics. We attended the district Ag Olympics at North Clackamas Land Lab. It was just a district bonding activity, and we had a great time.
The homecoming parade, I'm Callie. We had 11 participants. Emery brought her goats, and I brought my chicken, and everyone thought it was really fun. There was a lot of interactions between us and the community, especially the elementary school kids. They really enjoyed the animals. So we're hosting Winter Leadership Day this year, and we're super excited. We would love to have you guys pop in and check it out. I'm assuming we'll be sending out dates and stuff for that. And then students will participate in FFA degree workshops in the morning and different contest trades and career workshops in the afternoon.
So if you have any input on career workshops or internships, shoot me an email because I put all of that together. So if you have anything you want to see, let me know.
This is our annual dinner and auction. We started it last year and we raised just over $11,000, which was super successful. We're working on finalizing all of the details and stuff because alumni is meeting right now. But make sure to check out your emails for updates because we'll be sending those out and we would love to see you.
Okay, so this year my schedule changed just a little bit. We added an ag leadership course just to kind of get some kids more involved, especially in the FFA aspect of things. So we're working a lot on like career stuff. They just did resumes and cover letters. We're going to do some business management type stuff. I'm working with our new vice principal to get them into the elementary schools in the springtime to do some ag in the classroom activities. So they'll be leading those activities. So just to get some more involvement with our younger students, and then hopefully years down the road, 3 or 4, we could do like a ag camp with our younger kids in the summer. So just to kind of get some community involvement, we're starting that process now for kind of our 5-year plan for our program. And then there's a big interest in animal science, and so that's kind of where our main pathway is headed. And so we added an advanced animal science this year, and then hopefully next year we'll add an animal science 3. And we're in the process of working with Lynn Benton Community College to offer college credits for those advanced animal science credits here starting next year. So that's something that all of CT is working on, and ours is the main focus in animal science. I have horticulture, and then I have 2 sections of floriculture, so that's also one of our more popular classes. So I've been working a lot with our local florists like Jenny Greenup and Stacy Rose on how to kind of make that class more successful and more industry-based for them. But we're super excited about that. I have 123 students total in all of my classes. And so far actively participating in things from August until now, we have 12. And last year we had like 2 or 3. So we are in the right direction of improving and growing. So we are definitely rebuilding and reestablished, and we are very excited for upcoming activities. So just keep checking your emails because I'm still sending out the monthly newsletter of activities and things. We would love to see you pop in for our Leadership Day or different contests that we'll be hosting. We would love if you would like to judge to let us know. We're always looking for ag sales or job interview judges.
Ken is a great interviewee. Same with Director
I was like,
Berman.
egg sales, no, that's not my bit.
Yeah, and like Olivia just said, getting there. We have a full functioning officer team this year, so we have a president through historian, whereas last year we had kind of 2 officers that assisted but didn't have a lot of stuff to do. So we're very excited to have them as well to help take some pressure off of me, and they get to do some things. So we have some big leadership roles coming up in our chapter. So we're very excited. Any questions for them?
That's awesome.
Mackenzie, I'm very impressed. I really am. You're doing a wonderful job. And I'm not an animal person, but I look forward to your newsletter. It's very well written. Thank you.
Any other questions? As a FFA dad, I appreciate your willingness to take this on and do well with the program. Clackamas County Fair, I think this year was probably the most successful FFA presence that Estacada's had in maybe ever.
Yes.
Small but mighty, very much so. And you guys are rocking it.
And as a dad, I had a second kid through floriculture, or she's in it now. Favorite class out of the whole schedule.
Awesome.
Everybody loves floriculture.
I had to ask somebody what that was, not that long ago.
Thank you all.
Thank you all
Appreciate you
very
guys
much,
coming,
great job.
letting us in on it. And make sure you send out the invites for the
Yes.
auction as well as the leadership as we get closer.
Yep.
Waiting to see what the venue's gonna be right now. Send it out.
As far as the leadership, is that done on the district campus?
Yeah, so I put it in with, so
Can't leave yet.
I put it in with facilities. It is during a read day, so the conferences will take place, like in the commons in the library, where we won't have a lot of students in this room as well. And then that'll go through read day, so our kids in that conference will be out of the way for all of our read day students. And then once read day is over, our kids will have lunch, and then they'll kind of break out in some different classrooms for all of their different like workshop activities. So they will be here from 9 to 3:30 on December 6th.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Thank
Yep.
you.
Great,
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Next up, we have item G, which is, looks like we have no discussion. All right, moving right along, hearing of citizens for action items only.
None.
Okay, moving on to action items. The consent agenda includes a package of 1 or more items to be voted on as a unit. However, if any board member is not in favor of 1 or more items and prefers to take separate action, a request of the chair anytime prior to the vote will remove that item for separate vote.
Chair Wheeler, I move to accept the consent agenda as presented.
We've got a motion, we have a second, do we have any discussion? Doesn't look like we have any discussion. All those in favor, please raise your right hand.
Motion carries.
Next item, we have item J, Cisco and United Salad.
Chair Wheeler, I move to approve Cisco and United Salad as the Estacada School District's food vendors for the school year 2024-2025.
Second.
Motion and a second. I have a discussion or a question. So, a little while ago, I believe it was, there was an email that went out, and this isn't directly involving Cisco or United Salad, but it involves Dairy Gold, I believe. There was a shortage of chocolate milk. Do we know anything about that?
That is news to me.
Felt around the world.
Yes.
Well, it's because we have it all.
Yeah.
I think,
I actually know about it.
you know about it?
Yeah, Alpenrose actually provides, they work together, Dairy Gold and Alpenrose's sealer broke.
Okay.
So they were only running half speed, basically.
We no longer contract with Alpenrose either.
So in that
But
event, though.
Dairy Gold they work with Alpenrose to get enough milk, basically.
So in that event, say it's not chocolate milk, maybe it's high fructose corn syrup or whatever we're not putting in. And Cisco is our provider. Do we have an avenue to go somewhere else and if there's a commodity that we need?
Yeah, we do have that avenue, and we would work with Cisco to see if they have any other vendors to recommend, or we would procure that out ourselves, to make sure that we have the food for our students and the milk.
They have to hold some service level agreement
Yep.
that they have to
Yep.
maintain.
Exactly.
Okay, perfect. Any other questions or comments, I guess? All right, all those in favor, please raise your right hand.
Motion carries.
Next up, we have item K. This is our PACE, property and casualty coverage.
Chair Wheeler, I move to authorize the Estacada School District to make a payment to PACE in the amount of $433,100 for property and casualty coverage for the 24-25 school year.
Second.
Got a motion, and we got a second. Can we get a Reader's Digest version of this?
Yeah, PACE is, again, our liability insurance. They cover liability, property, vehicle schedules, or everything that are assets within the district. Cybersecurity, it's part of a pool, so many districts, or all the districts in the state of Oregon, with the exception of maybe a few, are part of the pool to reduce that overall head amount. We did see an increase of about 14% this year as we were planning for our budget. And so that's your Reader Digest of what PACE does and provides for our district. They also do risk management for us. So when we ever have a question about risk management or liability, we can reach out to them free of charge, and well, essentially free of charge, and they provide guidance for the district.
Thank you.
Those districts that don't use PACE, do they self-insure, or do you know that what?
Yes.
they do?
Yep.
But that's like Portland Public, Salem
Yeah.
Kaiser, they're
Yeah.
the monsters, yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
And there's really not any other options out there. This is the
This is it.
school
Yeah.
option.
Yeah, this is the best option for us.
And just to be clear, self-insurance is insanely expensive.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's
And a
just
couple
the
years
risk
ago, based on board recommendation, we looked and it was not even close.
and risky, yeah.
Have there been any repercussions, I know like on the homeowner side, as far as property insurance and wildfire zones, has there been anything mentioned of this, or is that part of the uptick, do you think?
No, I don't know if that's necessarily a part of the uptick. I could find out. I think it's just our general where we're at with the economy. But we do go through wildfire prevention and different things that we can prevent, but there's not a lot of coverage for that. It just depends on where you're at within the I guess the area of Oregon, I guess, if I can answer it that way.
Okay. All right. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All right. All those in favor, please raise your right hand.
Motion carries.
Chair Wheeler, I got a question back on J, if I can ask it real quick.
Yeah, sure.
The Cisco contract, these all have fixed amounts in them. Is this a type contract that's bill as we go, or is there a cap, or what's the budget line item? What's the dollar amount to what we just approved?
That's a good question. I actually don't have the answer to that one right now. I'd have to get back to you on
It would be bill as we go though, and we're in a consortium with a bunch of other public school districts, and so that's how we get the price down, by being together with Eugene and several others I know. But we budget, $350,000 a year in the budget that you approve, and that's for food expenses, and then we also get reimbursed by the federal and state government per meal that we get.
Okay, so this is like a 350 not to exceed, or
Well,
what's the rough budget?
We typically exceed it, but yeah, we budget 350, and then at the end of the year, when we have the end fund balance, we move money from our general fund to our transfers. And food, athletics, and transportation are the three things that we backfill anything that's an over expenditure.
Thank you.
Okay. Moving back to item L. Multnomah ESD contract.
Chair Wheeler, I move to approve the Multnomah ESD contract for school-based nursing services to support our LEAP students in the amount of $168,656.66.
Second.
Moved and seconded. I don't know how much we can go into on this.
Not the details on who or why, but that's also a very exact number.
Yes.
Is this not like a T&M contract, but that's a fixed amount?
Correct.
For a fixed amount of time?
Yep, So just in short, obviously, it's our legal responsibility to serve any child who walks into our doors. We just received a new student that requires a full-time, one-on-one certified registered nurse. We posted the position. We were unsuccessful in finding a registered nurse, and so that has required us to seek a third-party service. And so this is the ticket or the bill to compensate one full-time registered nurse throughout the course of the entire school year to serve this particular student.
And this is an all-in number too?
Correct. Yeah, it includes
Base
benefits
plus
and
fringe
all of
plus
it.
their
Yep,
fee,
you got it.
It's
Yep.
got the experience level you want.
Yep, yep. So this is good. And this is obviously just a specialty that's a very hard one to find. And the reason why we're coming to the board with this is because it's a contract and it's over $150,000, which requires us to have to seek board approval for it. If it were less than 150, we would have just moved forward with hiring what we need to support the kid.
Does, our agreement with Clackamas ESD, they don't have this type of service to be able to support?
They
it, or it's
don't.
already used?
Correct, yeah, but already used is the right answer. They do also have several certified nurses, but they've already been deployed, and so they are out of resources. And so this is why we're actually going with the Multnomah ESD, who has that ability to help us.
And the,
Sorry, can I, do
you
you
go
think
ahead.
this could fold into the agreement for next year, since maybe the student enrolled after the school year, so we didn't have knowledge, so if it's the beginning of next year, we can roll that into the Clackamas?
Yes, that's correct. If we can't hire our own nurse ourselves, which we'd like to do in the long run of that, yeah.
Thank you.
in this situation, is this something where the student goes to a neutral location, or are they on campus, or how do?
This particular student is in the LEAP program, which is run by Clackamas CSD, and so this student receives their education at an alternative location, but we're still on the hook legally to provide the student with what they need,
Okay,
including transportation.
all right. Thanks for all that. Any other questions? Okay, all those in favor, please raise your right hand.
Motion carries.
Okay. Next up, we have hearing of citizens for non-action items.
We have none.
I have one more good for the order, too.
Yeah,
Whenever you're ready to move to it.
Yeah, let's go ahead.
So I need to make the board aware of a potential land acquisition that both Mike Ware and I will be coming to you with potentially next month. So I just wanted to clearly state that there's been a great long time community partner known as the Red Barn Preschool. The Red Barn Preschool is a co-op, nonprofit organization, and where the Red Barn is, for those that are interested, is in between Clackamas River Elementary School and Estacada Middle School on Pierce Street. There's a bright red house that has been there forever called the Red Barn Preschool, and for decades it has supported Estacada's children as they successfully merge from pre-K to kindergarten. It's been a great partner, and they've done a very good job. We've been very supportive of them. However, since the pandemic, that Red Barn organization has really struggled to get enrollments, and they've also, because it's a co-op, it's different than a for-profit or business program. Like, the parents have to help teach, and there are things that, you know, everyone kind of has a shared ownership, and they're struggling to get families to enroll their kid and then also participate in the process, which is realistic, and we understand that. So because of this, the Red Barn is going to dissolve its nonprofit and its co-op, but they have in their possession the property and the house. They reached out to the Estacada School District to see if we were interested in purchasing the property and the house. And through their nonprofit governmental status, they've worked through some things. Basically, they want to gift us this house and property. However, when I say gift, there's an asterisk by it. They owe $60,000 in their mortgage. And so they would like the school district to basically pay for what's left of the mortgage and any type of closing costs and other things that go in that. And so as I look at that property and that facility from a business perspective, as our community has told us resoundingly that we need to figure it out ourselves, how to deal with capacity without community investment, we see this as a pretty unique opportunity for us to purchase something that is still in our campus atmosphere, the opportunity to reduce some of the overcrowding at our facilities and our campuses for really pennies on the dollar. It probably needs a new roof, it probably needs some other things, but I feel like even, any investment less than $300,000 is probably savings to the district when it comes to that. As we're working through the process, our first initial plan, as we've been talking about as a school board, particularly Director Shibahara was a leader in this, and that is finding a permanent place for our adult transitions program. These are students 18 to 21. And they would like, more than anybody else, to be off of the high school campus, because once they graduate at 18, they don't want to be seen back on campus again as a recycled high school student. They want to be at a different location where they can learn life skills and other things. This is a perfect location for what we've been looking for considerably less than what we've been talking about in terms of building a facility for them. Plan B would be to move one of our pre-K programs, which is currently housed at either elementary school, and that could go there in order for us to create one additional classroom space for an overcrowded building. While we're not making any decisions, nor can I without your support and approval for any land acquisition, I just wanted to put it on your radar, and I'll be speaking with each of you, individually through the process. But I just wanted to communicate that in advance so nobody is surprised as some of these discussions are talked about and what that looks like.
Yeah, and just one thing, Ryan, and we'll talk more about it, but we also want to just be aware of any conditions. Oftentimes when a not-for-profit donates a property, there's limitations on when it can be sold and how much it can be sold for compared to the median income, and so I would be happy to be involved in the conversations.
Yes, please, thank you, and I know you have experience with that. Yeah, thank you.
Timing of this?
The Red Barn Board of Directors are interested in moving quickly. And so we're working with them actively right now to figure out, what those costs would be, as Superintendent Carpenter mentioned, what the process is going to be to dissolve and then moving forward to bring it to the board. We're hopeful in the next month to be able to bring it to the board, but we're still kind of early in that phase, but they would like to move quickly like the district would as well.
Excellent. Any other questions?
To be clear, just for policy and legal standpoint, this is under the $150,000 threshold, so that part of it doesn't require board approval, but per policy, any land acquisition, regardless of price, is a board of directors decision.
Superintendent Carpenter, can you also give us just a Reader's Digest version of Deep Creek Learning Center and how that's going now that we're a month and a half or 2 months into it?
Oh, Deep Creek Learning is on fire, figuratively. It's actually off to a really exceptional start. Commend our operations team, Mike Ware, who really hustled to get that place going on time before the start of school. Our goal was to have 50 kids, I believe, in that program to start the school year, and I think we're at 52 right now. And so it is thriving. There are some growing pains with it, both in the community and in our school as well. We made a commitment that we were going to make sure to include these students who choose to have their education done in an alternative pathway to still have access to electives, which requires us to run shuttle buses to and fro every period of the day. And that's been a challenge, but we're getting better at it over the course of things. Making sure that kids are, remaining in the schools has actually been quite good. Attendance has been quite good. Culture is up. The thing that we're trying to figure out right now, again, I know it's a Reader's Digest, but this is important, is as we have finally placed these students and this school in where they want to be, which is its own school and its own identity with its own culture, there still is some growing pains too of like when the high school has assemblies, when the high school has high school things. The majority of these students don't want to participate in it at all. However, a few do. And so we're kind of working through the processes of, we want Deep Creek Learning Academy to be its own school. And so that also means we need to have our own assemblies, our own events, our own activities, so we can create that. And so that's one example of something that we're learning as we go as to how we want to create this as a true culture, its own school. But the downtown perspective has been awesome, and our kids are loving it, and the access to local connections has been great. One of the perks is they get to have the access to all the great local food restaurants, which some food restaurants have told me that it's been helpful to them as well. And I've heard that they've inspected some roofs as well in some of those areas. And so we'll try to keep kids off the roof.
What's going on with the Eagle Creek School? Did that guy ever get to work on the roof of that?
He attempted to for a couple of weeks, but then had an issue come up, and I think it just became so overwhelming that he ended up stepping back, which is commendable and understandable. And so, yet again, our school district is saddled with the responsibility at some point to have to do something with that school. And we're not talking about Eagle Creek Elementary School. We're talking about the original Eagle Creek Schoolhouse built by like Philip Foster and that group from the 1800s, and Denise Pemberton.
Alumni.
I found out she went there. Yeah, when I said
The hard
downtown.
Yeah.
Proudly.
Yeah, generations later, Denise helped still continue to make that place come to life, yes.
All right. Thank you for the updates. Any further questions? All right, let's adjourn here at 8:20.